I'm Dominic Lewis. Welcome to our podcast here. I'm the founder of codeforgood.ai, greatchildrenshouse.com. And I also have right now, I'm running as consultant for Maestro Software. And one of the things I found is that a lot of people want to understand what is it to take to be a founder, and try to help people have a little more insight. What are things that people are doing from the CEO perspective, and what does that mean to be a founder? And trying to get into the technology that are really forming the future and are disrupting various industries. So today, a special guest with us today. But first, I want to just touch about, a little bit about one. It is Haitian Heritage Month. So I did bring out some of the special barbecue rum today. So, we'll be sipping on a little bit of barbecue today with my guy Dan. And Dan is a real cool guy. We have a lot of special things that we want to talk about, including his new legal platform called DocuEase. We have a special guest with us today, Dan Zabokrytskyi.
Thank you.
Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Dom, thanks for having me here. Highly appreciate it. And let me introduce myself to the audience. I'm the CEO and co-founder of B2B, B2C, a platform called DocuEase. And we provide any automated solutions using AI, starting from building custom use cases for law companies, law firms, and ending up with just a regular platform where we gather every feature that we've developed for big companies and kind of decide to make it public. Everybody for $99 to have that opportunity to use it. So DocuEase is all about optimizing and automating as much of your time as possible to have more time to what actually matters to you.
What inspired you to start this venture? I mean, I'm sure you could have started many things, like maybe OnlyFans or some sort of. What was the driving?
No, at that point of time, I had an exit.
Oh, so, you had exit out of one company.
Yeah, and so I had a little bit of time to think on different things.
Money?
Yeah, a little bit of money as well.
So it's helpful, right?
And I moved to USA.
From where?
From France.
Oh, wow. Parlez-vous français?
Un petit peu.
Oh,
Well, as I moved here, my business partner, co-functional Walker, very good friend of mine. He's a lawyer. He has a law firm. I think they have over 50 attorneys, maybe 60 attorneys in his law firm. So, it's really what it's supposed to be, like what actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was maybe a few years ago, and we've been sitting, having lunch, and, AI started gaining power. People started talking about it. And he was always late for our lunch meetings.
He was always late.
Yes. And one time I said to him, listen, just drop ChatGPT and let it do the work, right? And he said, nah, this is not the case. We as lawyers, we can't do it. Like, there's so many things that, like, privacy,
Data protection.
You can't use chat. So we started more and more about it on a daily basis. And then at the end of the day, we kind of figured out that three things: privacy, accuracy, and data protection are the things that lawyers and pretty much block medical industry business owners to use AI in their daily operations, right? So we started thinking how we can solve that problem. And it all began as we started building this solution for his law firm to make sure that it would be proof of concept and he would actually optimize his day. And not only his, but also his team. And this way we ended up building different use cases, which then led more and more and started spreading around.
That's awesome, man. And, I could tell you firsthand that's going through as a litigant, pro se litigant, is not an easy feat, right? I wrote the book When God Is Your, because literally when you finish depleting all your funds and somehow your ex-wife has your kids and you have to go things as part of the legal system, you realize things have changed very quickly. So I wrote When God Is Your Lord for those reasons, because there's so many challenges. So tell us about how your AI technology differentiates itself from, like you said, ChatGPT. What does your and DocuEase do that provides the businesses and the consumers or pro se litigant advantages to scale and to quickly have better chance of winning in the legal system that is so complex. You have guardian ad litem, you have different law, you have foreclosure law, you have you have so many different aspects. You have civil, you have criminal, you have so many aspects. So how can you look at your AI and say, hey, you know what, this is different than going on to Chat GPT and helping them to vacate a foreclosure, for example?
No, I would, in comparison on DocuEase and ChatGPT, I would also like to add Law, big players out there.
I think Westlaw is another one too.
Westlaw, exactly. And so ChatGPT just generates responses to the prompts that set to it. That's it, right? Those legal big players, they're there to streamline your preparation for your legal research. The problem that you gather a lot of documents and cases during your legal research, and then you end up with 20 files. But then you kind of still need to spend a lot of time reviewing, analyzing them. If you could take all those files to the folder, or at least drop it and compare them, or ask questions directly about those documents, or summarize them, or to seek specific parts in the document that would actually help you to prepare. So if you look at like ChatGPT, maybe you need to install a lot of plugins to upload documents. It will be very limited on the type of you can upload, how it actually analyzes the document. It lacks a lot. But with DocuEase, let's say you are doing your legal research and you have 10, 15, 20, 30 different documents here. You set what you say DocuEase what you do. You can use our legal forms, for instance, I read K. You can read the case. So
I read the case.
I read
Okay.
the case, yeah.
Wonderful.
They're just our prompt is dedicated to make our prompts affordable, and all of the traditional methods that a lawyer uses, operations that they've been taught all their life, it's kind of already there. So instead of going over the documents manually, here it is, just upload the document, pick what you want to do, or set the specific task you want to do. Sure. So talking about other big players there that you mentioned, they are very on the uploaded context, what they can do is it. Great, but the speed they give the responses and what they can actually do, they can maybe respond to something very specific and narrow question. But if you want to use those as as a source of context for drafting something, or maybe summarizing documents, or using the source of drafting, that will not break that border, right? So with us, with DocuEase, any doc or any link, screenshot, and you can element around which you can do any specific task. Talking about B2C platform, because if we're talking about B2B solutions, there are just so many ways that so many things that we've done, starting from taking databases that are tens of thousands of documents, shutting them into veteran law firms just to ask questions and business a little bit.
Can you share with what platform you're using? Or we're assuming it's cloud-based.
For the vector database?
Yeah.
We're using.
I mean, I didn't sign the NDA or anything, or I don't want you to share information with the Amazon, S3,
It's part of it.
data lake or something like that. Or okay,
It's part of it. So what?
So it's like, are you multi-cloud, or are you kind of fixated on kind of technology?
We are multi-everything.
Multi-everything.
We're
Like that.
multi-everything, and we are a lot of customized solutions.
Okay.
Why is that needed? Is when there's B2C these solutions that we develop, I know I or Westlaw, and when you upload something there and you get a response, you kind of rely only on one software on the response that you get.
That's it.
But what we did is we get at least three at a minimum, but usually there's 4 or 5 responses that we get, that we process those requests individually in different ways. And once we get those responses, we do the cross-fact checking between those responses. So we really make sure that all the information that we give back to our user, it's proven not by one analysis, but we make sure that through individual analysis has been proven at least 3 or 4 times. And once that information is proven and we show it to our user, at the same time, every statement we have there a clickable reference button to click on it, and it pages something you can click
from whatever the law library.
So yeah, like on B2C platform, if you upload a document and then you ask any question and you give a response, then you tell on which page we picked up this response. If it's a B2B, you will analyze through published documents and which pages we picked up those responses.
So then from a technology perspective, I'm sure it's like expensive to run your platform for you, right? I mean, I understand you have a cost.
Yeah.
And so it's expensive to do those sorts of analysis. So are you paying per like API calls? Let's say if I'm doing a motion, for example, and, lengthy motion, and I want to hear that, you can just kind of walk us how it works, right? I mean, are you paying, is it costing you a lot of actually query in order to do the sort of analysis, or is it kind of just, just kind of a book package where you're not really concerned about how much the law firm or the person is actually using? You have enough capacity?
It's a very good question. And, especially nowadays, AI products, the billing is so difficult for people who are not using AI. Tokens, nobody cares about it. Everybody wants to use AI and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So B2C solution, we give unlimited access.
Right.
So you just buy a subscription package, no matter whether you buy $49 or $99 package, use it as much as you want. And we've done some very, very hard work to make sure that that we will be able to provide such a service. Obviously, there's some overusers. Obviously, there are some features super expensive to do, but those features just bring so much value.
Right.
So,
can you give me an example, like one of those features that?
Well, let's imagine that you're sitting in a court and you've just been given 40-page document, and you need to know there as soon as possible. You click a button, you just click one button to summarize it, and up to 50 pages will be summarized in under a minute. And give another. As we summarize documents, we try to summarize documents in a form, whereas that there are some, but it doesn't eliminate the need of rereading the document. Whereas if you upload the 50, we'll try to give you a 2-3 page summary,
right.
But that summary would actually know the most important things that need to be picked up and included in the need of you to read those. And during this kind of process, this is why it is so expensive for us. But I mean, this is the feature that killer feature.
Right. Well, as a killer, in a sense, maybe the cost is high right now, but then from the lawyer's time, right, or just your time is money, right? So if you're spending a lot of time, you're killing time, right? Versus you're saying, hey, you know what, this is, yes, it's costly, but when you look at the time that a lawyer would need to use, or someone, your time, right? Your time as a CEO and founder is very expensive to respond to something or to do that, read that 40-page document, very time consuming, right? That's why we'll pay like a legal attorney that will specialize on jobs or whatever to look at our cap tables or look at overall, corporate filings to make sure that, hey, you know what, we need to make sure this is done right by the right people that know the law and that's going to protect us, right? In this case, the law, right, the AI is leveraging and is doing that analysis for someone's time that is expensive. And so, yeah, I mean, it's understandable. It's expensive, but relative to the lawyer's time, it's going to be not hesitant, right?
Absolutely. And, usually lawyers, if it's a lawyer who bought a subscription, getting it $99 and half a day. Mm-hmm. Let me give you one brief example. I was just discussing it another day with one of our clients. So usually when he gets any regarding some specification, usually need to review and analyze the document and send to his client. So usually how this process would work, new document comes in, his paralegal would quickly go over it, he would quickly go over it, his paralegal would create notes about it, what she would include in the summary, give it to him, he would once again read her notes, then make any changes or expansions, give it back, then she types it again, maybe he needs to approve it for the third time. So take a few hours. With DocuEase, you can upload any file, add a task to DocuEase that summarize me this doc, writing a letter, and summarizing the. Maybe even if you will need to do some editing with our AI editor, that empowers a lot of time. You can do this process in 7 minutes.
Wow, that's fascinating. That is so cool. And this amount of time. But what I'm curious about is it maybe not today, but intelligent enough to some, and then could it draft what is needed in order for a response?
Yeah. And
Right. So it'll create a framework for the response based on the input of the document. If you're so
yeah. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what? I want to get into this thing and use it but I come and bring now get it or a dream to my family's dream and that sort of thing. But I always love technology. So now that every business, the technology business, right, law, facilities management, aerospace, property management, what business, cake business, everybody, commerce, like in marketing, resources, oil and gas, every single business is a technology business. Cities, smart cities. So you name it, right? They're using technology. They're using AI. They're using big data. The government using big data. I was working with the Department of Homeland Security, the largest biometric system on the planet at the Department of Homeland Security. Now that's India's taking it over because India has the largest biometric database in the world right now. So it's interesting to see how you're using it, right? It's in the legal field, whereas the legal field, I looked at these lawyers, just 5-10 years ago, many lawyers, and still today, they're dinosaurs, right? So what we're doing is completely disrupt them, right? And some of the things I've used, I'm on the counsel, who's the attorney on this case? And I'm a non-lawyer, but I'm just using various AIs, right? And I can't wait to use DocuEase because that's really going to shock them back because many people that are not lawyers now have the power. All right, man. Fantastic. When we talk about all ways in the world right now being so disruptive and new technology with Dan Zabokrytskyi, and I'm so excited about it. We're over here in the CEO's corner. We're just hanging out, having a little bit of drinks. We're featuring today the Haitian Bono Cool Rum because Cool Rum is very good. It's in many five-star restaurants. And some claim the famous saying that it's one of the best things to eat. And since May is Haitian Heritage Month, we sharing it. So, Dan, I didn't ask you if you drink, man.
Well, I mean, how
now you
how can I not?
I have you seen rum? Okay.
I love that.
Cheers. Cheers. So, here with the CEO, Dan Zabokrytskyi, because I put Zabokrytskyi. Dan is changing the world from the sense how, from a legal perspective, everyone is very convoluted. You have judges, you have magistrates, you have different municipalities, you have tons of statutes. Just alone in Florida, we have hundreds of Florida statutes to bring the laws of real estate, present the laws of family, complaints the law of civil procedure. All sorts of, man, to find out that someone has to enable lawyers, but individuals fighting for their children, individuals fighting to maybe save their house, right? If you ever look at the dollar bill, do you have a dollar bill? Man, guess what? I don't have a dollar bill with me. But if you look at the dollar bill, it's interesting because there's a scale on there. And there's a scale of justice, right? So next time you take a look at it, right, it's like, it's like this, meaning that justice is not done. Justice is, right, if you have a lot of money, you could probably get more justice. If you have less money, then the scale is more even, right? And so what you're doing with DocuEase is that it's leveling the playing field a little bit for people that are hardworking, people that may not have, and also people that you normally wouldn't be able to afford a certain law firm. Maybe this brings down the cost to make them a little bit more competitive, right? So I love many things about what you're doing because I think it's going to be able to help a lot of people.
once you have more than community solution about there, and technology is working great, and covers all the most important elements such as um, privacy, accuracy. We understood that giving this creating this people with all of our features that we have already developed for $99 subscription, will just give people so much more time for what actually matters to them. I mean, lawyers, and not only lawyers, everybody is covered so much with data operations and on the things that should even take so much time. Mm-hmm. So thinking of it, well, okay, there are. If we talk about legal, there are so many players. First of all, it's that flex and nexus. Yeah,
but you're not competing against them, right?
no,
Taking all of them together, right? And it's like you're like putting a layer on top, a layer, and you're tacking into all those. It's almost like this next as Westlaw on steroids.
Well, kind of. I like this comparison. I didn't like the things. You all are. But they streamline legal research. But the problem with their legal research and they have 15 many different files and maybe even some documents of their personal data of their clients or whatever. What's next? They still have to read it because what those technologies could actually do with document review or with folders review or databases review is very limited. They, I don't want to get not going, but our key focus here is to make sure that here has a 50-page document and he has specific questions about it, or he wants to quickly go through it or within as soon as possible. Within 3-4 minutes, we'll be able full scope of what that document covers. And talking about that, this is about accuracy, right? So, we've done so many.
It increases their sorry to cut you, but I just want to make sure this is the accuracy of everything that the legal profession is bringing it down to a science because the legal profession, from my perspective, is not a science. It's very subjective, right? Everybody looks guilty if you're wearing orange. If you're breaking down to the science and do all the X and create KPIs in order to provide that, tell a more complete story to the judge that's making the decision or to jurors, then that's only going to be win-win for everybody that's at the table.
Exactly. But, just to make it a better understanding to the audience, I want to cover all of this doesn't matter if there is no privacy and accuracy. For it to be private, in this case with the signal telegram approach, where a user decides how quick he wants his data to be instructed. So we don't keep the information in the document unless user actually wants to get back to it sometime in the future. I just want to really highlight 3 key points here. Second is end-to-end message encryption. Super important.
Say that again.
End-to-end message encryption.
End-to-end message encryption.
And lastly, it's sensitive data.
Yeah.
If you have a doc from your client that has a lot of sensitive information about your client there, how can you freely not be scared that something will happen?
Right. You need to have the trust, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's this, the tool that there's end-to-end encryption. But even there's so many things when you talked about data protection, security, privacy, right? Right now, GDPR, General Data Protection. And now Congress has passed Act. A lot of people are talking about that in the scene. I think it's a start. I know but when you talk about data protection and security, right? You look at this every day, someone getting hacked, right? What about your product is you're not persisting this data, right? You don't own the data. You're just kind of through, and as you do your analysis, and after you're done. So tell me a little bit about how you engage the legal community to provide insights in your product development.
Yeah, so we started as a B2B platform. So we started onboarding, we started building solutions to business partners. Second top founder of DocuEase law firm, different use cases. And he had his many employees that have been using our our MVP on a daily basis, so we've been getting constant. And then, once we implemented different solutions that created automated different use cases for them, they just another law firm was a friend of his, and then we just started running like that.
Okay.
I would like to highlight a few pieces that I think are pretty our view.
Like the primary use cases.
I'm not sure but definitely one of the top ones. Just the ones that I had are maybe one thing that we try to build is to optimize how much time lawyers spend all with their clients discussing a specific document before a client needs to sign it, or like clients have many questions. So now a lawyer can just send a link to their client, and on half of it is needed, like the document is pre-uploaded there. On that of the page, you see the full document that you can follow or read it. You can sign it if it's necessary. And on the other side of the screen, instead of picking up your phone and calling to your attorney, just the same question that you would be asking him, you can just type in on the right part of the screen where it's DocuEase CEO upload the document and just ask any questions and get maybe even more accurate responses even quicker. Or another use case is a law firm had many OCR documents in their database. And that OCR documents haven't been used in any way or form. They can just they're in the database. And every time they couldn't even do a manual search on that. So because if you are using any databases for instance like many law firms use, you can like type in they put in a keyword and then it will find a specific document, maybe not with OCR. And if it finds your document, then you will need to kind of, you cannot automate, you can get responses from.
Oh, so yours is OCR compliant.
We are.
Awesome.
And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You just waited this long to tell me, and come on.
And I mean, yeah, so thank you.
You're underselling me.
Man. We just took the database, transform the database, and just allow law firms to interact with it. But
you have four clients, like
three enterprise clients now. We are onboarding the fourth one right now, and talking about obviously trying to create a custom solution for them. And we are trying to build many use cases, not only one. But if we talk about B2C platform, which is accessible to everybody, we have onboarded more than 400 individual users already. And like I don't know, maybe a few quick use cases that I remember right. Maybe some lawyers upload records and then move build a chronological order of events. Maybe handling text takes one time and understanding somebody's handwriting. Another use case is once again as we spoke earlier, I replicate and different prompt lines that traditional things that everybody does. Or summarizing a document, right? You need to summarize a document over fine, here you go, just upload it. Now one will do it for you in another 10 minutes.
Right. So one primary case was OCR parts of document ingestion.
Yeah.
And the other one would be what?
Are we talking now about the
well you're saying that you have like a couple cases.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, one to document.
So that's that's indeed that was
so both B2C and B2C.
Yeah, and B2B what we've been solving is that the law firm had many documents that had been scanned, and so we kind of make them accessible in a accessible.
Okay.
So they would just ask any questions about them, and then kind of go over them and
So I'm curious. I'm sure my users are curious as well too. So can you talk a little bit about funding? How was that process of that journey that you had? Did you go through a venture capitalist? You talked about your co-founder.
Yeah.
What's
his name is George Walker.
George Walker, so for example, right? He helped to like helping you get. Did you kind of just do this on a cash basis?
It's fully self-funded until today's day.
Really? And are you looking for funding or? I mean, how do I have some couple $100,000 laying around my house? Maybe I can just put it on the vehicle.
I mean, we are obviously looking for funding, but so far we and scaling is the priority for us because the more clients we have, or the more investment opportunities, the better offers there will be. So the strategic commitment that we will not seeking funds until we have some time to breathe and until we have until we have some work to do with our current focus on its own is all the time. And one thing is, we will lose so much time and so much focus rather than onboarding more new clients.
Cool. Got it. We're almost in quick things. Yeah. So maybe you could touch on product roadmap for us. How do you plan to, where you're at today and where you're going, integrating with other telephone, voice over IP systems? You talked about spending a lot of time on the phone with clients. And so, is there any inspiration? Are you going to adapt anything that you're doing now that maybe a little bit differently based on the use that you discussed?
Yeah, that's for sure. So one of the partnership that we're having right now is another AI company that automates many things through mobile phone. So technically, even if you have a database, a document that you have uploaded through your laptop, and it's there on DocuEase platform, or it came from your client, or you got an email from a client, or many emails, instead of logging into DocuEase or stuff like that, you will be able to do everything through iMessage. So you send a message, your Gmail or iMessage. You send a message telling, hey, there's this document name, or you say that you got this document from Dom yesterday around 9 p.m. Find the document, and I want to have a quick understanding, quick summary of the document. iMessage. But obviously this process will take maybe a little bit more than 1 or 2 minutes, but under 3, 4, maximum 5 minutes, we will give you the response to the task that you set.
Awesome. So that's great, man. And I think this has been very helpful for users. Just kind of give them an insight what you do as a CEO and founder of DocuEase. And I think, really from the perspective of our podcast here is you giving us great for your time. I think it's been great. What do you see? How do you see you changing the legal? And do you think there will be a change with your technology and how society views the legal system um, based on the technology that's there today? I'm wondering, there's so many people that need this platform. Do you feel that at some point the court systems themselves could be able to use the court system? I mean, we need to go into the court system to see where the pain points are because there's a lot of pain, and I think that's like there's a lot of people suffering going through the court system, right? I mean, when you have no choice, right? It's not because you have a choice, right? You might go the way you want. You need to have a intervention, right? So, how do you look that far down the road, or you just like, all right, I have so much on my plate right now? Point as author of God is your Lord. I look at what you're doing, and I think it could be a serious game changer.
As I said, our primary decision to launch a B2C platform was that we offer such a great custom solutions to law firms and now companies even beyond legal vertical. And the key decision there was we need to make sure that more people, freelancers, lawyers, could have access to a very good platform and how they can automate their process. And the key reason to automate your process is, once again, accuracy. It can perform a more accurate job than you will do if you're not. But the most important is, in such a quick-paced world right now, everybody who's a hard worker forgets about just a little bit, especially lawyers. Instead of saving more time, want to get more productive with the same amount of time. People want to do the same job, same things, but be less stressed. But honestly, not that many people who are willing to step back and say, actually, this is enough of work for me. So many hardworking people out here. So I think with this B2C approach, with this platform, we're trying to deliver message that will resonate with people, get more time to what actually matters to you. go and have a dinner. I know how stressful it is for lawyers and for business owners and for people who are building their career, and especially not only on strategic finance but also on data operations. So and this is what it takes to be court system. So as you mentioned, court system, if something is in your case, the court system wants it, right? And it will be extended because go over the previous documents and then go over the
Following tactics by law, drain it, they
but
run the clock.
if we can like even trying to change the whole system, huge goal, but it's trying to take a bit of time of everyone, at least 3% or 5% of their time, even in the court while they're at least analyzing documents, kind of figuring out what their next moves will be. If we will be cutting down at least a day or 2 or 3 days. Yeah.
Right, so the legal is like exposing structure, jargon, case rep that is way well beyond like a chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
You get the actual instruments to combat the opposing counsel that may have gone to, a law school at Harvard or FIU or one of the big state schools or Nova Southeast University. You're empowering the pro se litigants in order to be able to combat with them as well, right? So you're really evening the playing.
Definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on our podcast. We're covering all things CEO's perspective. Dan Zabokrytskyi is the founder of DocuEase. And Dan, hey, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hope
Thank
you
you
enjoyed the room. And, hope to have so we can hear the updates and all the success that you're having.
I'm sure we'll go follow up a few months later this year.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you
much.
Okay.